Okay.
It's fine, no
So the
worries.
problem is if I turn the fan off, then I'll just get hot and uncomfortable. So I
You don't
don't
need
want
that.
that.
Well, this is what live streaming is all about, is the chaotic energy of real life. If they wanted it to be nice, they'd let us do it on desktop.
Yeah, no kidding. Jesus, what a mess.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to the live stream. This is Dr. and I'm gonna let me know if I said it wrong. Dr. Don Schaffner at Rutgers.
Very good.
Wonderful. Tell us about what you do.
So I am a professor at Rutgers. I'm the current chair of the department, so that takes up some time. But let's not live stream about that because that would just be boring. I'm a food microbiologist. We do research. We basically try to use math and statistics to understand the behavior of microorganisms. We do research with bacteria in my lab. A couple of years ago, we started doing work with viruses. We don't actually work with parasites, but I do keep up with the food safety world, and I've got friends who are parasitologists, and I read the literature. So, and part of my job at Rutgers is as extension specialist, and so that means that I have an outward-facing mission. The teaching that I do is not in the classroom to students necessarily, although I'll give guest lectures. A lot of the work that I do is public facing. So obviously Cyclospora has been in the news. I've been doing a lot of news media around that, just trying to get like good scientific, science-based information out to people to help them, live their lives.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. A little bit of background for anybody tuning in. I'm Sarah Taber. I'm a small farmer. I spent a lot of time as a farm worker. So we got a good view of what's going on with farm worker bathrooms. Did food safety audits for a while and got a DPM from University of Florida, doctor of plant medicine. So veterinarian for crops, not a doctor for people. We mostly just try and keep people from getting dirty crops on the crop side. So that's where we're going today. Um, I want to pick your brain first about, so we have some news. We think it might be lettuce. And as far as I understand, this comes from, or this is just at the suspect stage. We haven't made a conviction yet, right? Um,
Depends on who
because
you
they're like, well,
ask.
we're not sure. We think.
We
So,
think.
because what we don't want to have happen is people are like, oh, they found the source, so I can eat whatever now. And then it turns out maybe there was something else, or it wasn't the only thing, or it wasn't the thing at all. Um, So if I'm not mistaken, that was based on, we just talked to a bunch of people who got Cyclospora. This is the first step is you interview everybody. What did you eat? And bagged lettuce came up a lot. And the thing is, everybody eats bagged lettuce a lot, so kind of hard to say. If you
Well,
have any
yeah,
thoughts on that,
yeah,
let's dig in.
yeah. Just to clarify, so it's not bagged lettuce. It's lettuce from Taco Bell, right? So it's
Was it chopped
specifically
lettuce?
taco. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was just the chopped lettuce from Taco Bell.
Just lettuce from Taco Bell is all that's been implicated right now. The other thing we have to clarify is that we think there's multiple cyclospora outbreaks going on right now. So it's not just a single outbreak.
Mhm.
And according to the FDA website, last time I looked, which was earlier today, they list 4 cyclospora outbreaks in 2026. One of them is closed, it's finished. They never identified the cause.
Mhm.
3 other ones are active up until last night. All 3 of those said we don't know the cause. Now, with one of them, it's like, okay, it's lettuce from, I think they might say a fast food chain. They don't always implicate the name, but the name's out there, right? So,
Yeah.
Taco Bell lettuce, and that's the one that is driving the big outbreak, let's say, and multiple outbreaks, but the big outbreak is really Michigan and Ohio, and then maybe a few other states, surrounding
Mhm.
states that are also implicated.
Right. Okay, good. So I remember when this was first starting out back in like June or even May, there were a bunch of cases in New York, which I don't think the chopped lettuce from Taco Bell is related to. Is that the one that's
It,
closed?
I'd have to go on look on the FDA website to be sure. And actually, the FDA website is not great because, like, CDC will tell you, okay, these are the states where the illnesses are because that's what CDC's job is. The FDA
Mhm.
website, it's not as clear, and so I don't think the one that's closed gives a geographical region, and you don't know that unless FDA sort of communicates that with CDC. So as far as I know, we don't know any more details about the one that is closed, and we don't know the cause.
Gotcha. Okay. How exciting is that? Yeah. it's something I'll get a lot of questions about. So how do I stop from getting sick? And just really the number one thing, and probably really the only thing, is cooking. Um, Rinsing, washing, not really that effective. Peeling, no. Vinegar, no. Freezing, no. Cook it. Um, yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing I'll say, and I've been saying this, for all the media interviews that I've done, and I can say for you specifically, I had a salad for dinner tonight. I had a salad last night. I think I had a salad the night before. I have not changed my fresh produce consumption patterns because I don't. I mean, really, what you should do is don't eat at Taco Bell 4 weeks ago. That's what you should do, right? So,
Mhm.
and the nature of foodborne illness investigation generally, and specifically this outbreak because it's linked to Cyclospora and the organism has such a long incubation period, right? So with Salmonella and E. coli, incubation period is 24, 48, 72 hours. With Cyclospora, it's anywhere from 2 days up to 14 days. And so there's a very long incubation period from the time, or potentially long from the time you consume the product until you get sick. And then of course we've got the time to diagnosis, right? Oh, I've got diarrhea. I'll ride it out. Oh, maybe can't ride it out. Go to the doctor. Doctor's going to order a stool culture. It takes a few days to do the stool culture. Okay, now we got to send it off for testing. Okay, now we got to get the test results back. Okay, now we know that I'm sick with something and we know what it is. Now, epidemiologist from the state needs to come and talk to me and say, what did you eat 3 weeks ago? What did you eat 4 weeks ago? And that's the epidemiological signal that's going to allow us to pinpoint it. So obviously, all of that takes time. People's memories are not great. What did you eat 4 weeks ago? Do you know? I don't know. But
It's a
obviously,
journey.
uh, it's interesting. So there's been two lawsuits filed that I'm aware of, and
Mhm.
both the lawsuits, separate individuals, both ate at Taco Bell twice in the exposure window. So obviously
Mhm.
these people are like, I'm guessing. I mean, diehard Taco Bell fans. I don't know. I mean, I there's a Taco Bell that I will eat at just because it's on the way when we go to visit family, and it's
Mhm.
like a good halfway spot. And I mean, Taco Bell, it's fast. It's not great, but it's not terrible. You kind of know what you're going to get. So, but that Taco Bell is not involved in the outbreak. That one's in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Fascinating. Yeah. Something I keep trying to drive home with folks is, we have 4,000 plus cases. Nobody's died yet, which is, that doesn't happen that often with Listeria or E. coli, 0157, things like that. Those things will mess
Exactly.
up other organs.
Yeah, yeah,
Cyclospora
and
just gives you crazy
and
diarrhea.
yeah, it's funny. It blew my mind. I talked to a good friend of mine, who I won't name, who works at a university, who's very well connected in the fresh produce industry. She said, "Yeah, I did a deep dive into Cyclospora a couple of years ago, and she said I couldn't find any evidence that anybody ever dies from it. And I won't say that nobody will ever die from it, but boy, the death rate it's nowhere near what you see with Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria is a weird one. We'll kind of put that off to the side. We can talk about that later if you're interested. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I've heard that again in these lawsuit cases. I think those people were hospitalized, but again, the fraction of people that get hospitalized is really not that many, and so it's not. I mean, I'm not going to pretend it's not serious. It sounds like absolutely no fun whatsoever. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Well, almost anybody. But
I've got a list.
yeah, I got a list too. We probably have the same list.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
had a
so
I
yeah,
was
it's an interesting bug.
yeah, I was speaking with a doctor earlier who runs a so people who are caregivers for elderly patients, mostly with dementia, and he said, "So I just want my audience to know, for you as the caregiver, if you're a healthy adult, you don't want to get cyclospora, but it's not going to probably leave you with a whole lot of like long-lasting damage. What you need to be worried about is, dementia patients, keeping them hydrated, already a struggle. If they get
Right.
diarrhea, they don't always can't verbalize that's what's going on. You might not catch it. They get really dehydrated. They have a fall, because they're just out of sorts and dehydrated. Break a hip, terminal decline. That's the kind of folks we should be worried about as immunocompromised, really elderly, small children. It used to be normal to have kind of a diarrhea season every summer. They called it summer complaint because it just everybody had it, especially children. And that's part of why we had so many kids under 5 die all the time as they poop themselves to death. Having a diarrhea season in summer used to be the normal way of things. We had to invent clean drinking water. We had to invent washing hands. We had to invent flush toilets to stop doing that. And anytime any of that wobbles, boom, right back to diarrhea season. So,
Well, and
yeah.
funny thing, mentioning diarrhea season, there's also something called winter vomiting disease, which you
Mm,
only get in the winter, and we call that norovirus now. Now, not that you can't get norovirus year round, but if you think
yeah.
about norovirus and how it's spread by vomit, it's spread by diarrhea, highly infectious. So if you are sick and you're sitting next to me and we're in close quarters like we are in the winter, I'll get your norovirus. Now, the good thing about Cyclospora is that it's not immediately infectious. So humans are the only host of the parasite.
Mm,
But if you are sick and you have this diarrhea and you've got the oocysts from the parasite that go out in the diarrhea, those oocysts are not immediately infective, right? And so they have to
mm,
mature in the environment. We really don't know what's happening there, in terms. I mean, I'm using hand wavy mature in the environment. We don't really know what that means, but we do know that those oocysts probably won't be infectious until about 2 weeks. And so if you're caring for someone who does have cyclospora, you really don't have to worry about. I mean, it's
mm,
gross, but you don't have to worry about exposure to the diarrhea. That diarrhea won't be risky until 2 weeks from now, until weeks from the
gotcha.
time it comes out. So
Yeah. I say Cyclospora, when it comes out of a person, is not ready to settle down immediately in a new host. It wants to see the world, experience some things.
yeah,
Yikes. Um, yeah, so like the thing I just keep trying to drive home is this is less about like panic and what do we not eat unless you have someone who's immunocompromised. For most of us, it's just like, look, if you have diarrhea that goes on for a week, see somebody about it and tell them it might be cyclospora because it will keep
yeah.
coming back. That's the main
Yeah,
thing.
and that's a weird thing about it too, is that it has this recurring aspect to it, which we don't
Mm,
see with other organisms, right? You'll get
mm,
sick, you'll get better, and then the diarrhea will come back. I remember we had it first came on my radar in the mid 1990s when we had an outbreak linked to raspberries from Guatemala, and I had
mm,
the occasion to read the deposition of a guy who was. In part of a lawsuit, and this poor guy, cyclospora is very treatable, but it's treatable
mm,
with a combination antibiotic that includes a sulfa drug. And there are
mm,
people that can't tolerate sulfa drugs, they're allergic or intolerant to them. And so this
mm,
poor guy couldn't take sulfa drugs. And I
mm,
was reading his deposition where he's like, yeah, I was on the toilet, and then I was on the toilet for a couple of days, and then I got better, and then I got sick again, and it was just like not. And my recollection from reading this deposition from 20 plus years ago is he was a large man, at least when it
mm,
started. He lost a lot of weight because
mm.
I mean, you have diarrhea constantly and you can't keep anything down, and geez, what a mess.
Yeah, gosh, it's like the malaria of pooping. It just keeps coming back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
Plasmodium, also a parasite.
there you go. See, that's clearly what it is. I don't know how closely related they actually are, but I was like, huh, those protozoa will get you. Um, let's see, I'm trying to think. What other question would be getting a lot? Um, there's been some interesting conspiracy theories going around about like, why is this happening now? Um, and again, like this is kind of why I keep going back to, diarrhea is normal. Like having a diarrhea season in the summer that's kind of the normal state of affairs. And we put in a lot of work to stop it from being like that because we lost a lot of children under 5, a lot of elderly people. We said we don't want to live like that. All it really takes for that to come back is just a little slip up in hygiene. It doesn't even have to be that big. You can just forget to stock the bathrooms at the farm with water to wash your hands with for a couple of days, and boom. Um, there's there's some wacky ideas out there. I will say I think the only times we've ever really been able to pin down a cause, it was just workers on a farm not having bathrooms, and like you still got to poop, and that's on the farmers who are running the property to run that.
Yeah, and I will say, I think, I mean, I don't like it when people demonize farm workers, right? It's like,
Hmm.
especially if you haven't given them the necessary
Hmm.
skills or the necessary tools to manage that. But I would
Hmm.
say, if it is people on a farm, remember that 2 week maturation time for the oocyst. So it's almost got to be, well, we've got a latrine. But the latrine is located upslope from a pond, which we sometimes use for irrigation water. It's like, well, that's not good. Don't do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I used to be a farm worker and I was telling a story once about like, oh yeah, we had to go to a farm and they didn't have porta potties. They were 45 minutes from the nearest bathroom. Because when you're on a farm, like sometimes you're like, well, if we don't have it, you just go to the nearest gas station. There's usually something. Um, 45 minutes away from the nearest bathroom. And so they had what we call a toilet paper meadow. There's just kind of like a little patch. in the woods where everybody knows you just kind of go over there and you can see little
Mm.
tufts of toilet paper everywhere. And
Oof.
because it was in Florida, there there's a drainage ditch, of course, between the pooping ground and the rest of the farm, and it's full of gators. So you have to look both ways before you jump the ditch to the poop field. Nobody wants to live like that, right? So I'm telling this
Yeah.
story about like, can you believe this thing to happen on a farm? And another farmer was like, "How dare you? Don't you know you're putting his food safety at risk?" Like, do you think we wanted to jump a ditch and look out for gators to go poop in the open? Do you think that
Yeah,
was our idea?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, right. Like that's not anybody's first choice, right? Like
Mhm.
today, I think I'll use the bathroom in my house. Maybe tomorrow, jump over a ditch with some gators. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, gators are hard to spot. See, like you really have to stop and look, and if you really have to go, it's a whole thing. Like the fun thing about pooping in a ditch is the first day or two it's nice, but then it's a ditch filled with poop that you have to keep going back to, and nobody wants that.
Oh
Ah,
dear.
so yeah, yeah, you'll see people go like, "Oh, farm workers are dirty and gross," and you're like, "Well, everybody poops. Do you not do that?
Yeah.
You should write a paper about this." So, so that's kind of fun. I'm trying to think what else we got going on. We had an early day on the farm today, and this is the third Cyclospora interview I've done today, so I'm running a little empty.
Oh, very good. Well, I think it's number three for me as well. So we're both equally exhausted. So, can I ask you questions about your farm?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Are you regulated under produce safety rule?
So it's a 1 acre farm, and everything we're growing is vine crops off the ground. Like we have some radish for pest control reasons, but we haven't sold any of them yet. I don't think we're going to. Everything is vine crops off the ground. We're using a well. We do have it's on a ranch that's mostly cattle. So I was like, the spot we're on is an acre that's it's too small to fence off and put cattle on it. And so they're like, sure, come grow veggies. And I was like, are you sure there's been no cattle on there for at least a year? We have the soil is sandy, and so you don't have a ton of, and we're not uphill with the cattle or anything, it's just flat. So there's the cattle, there's their fence, there's a dirt lane, and then we have our fence, and we have a grass strip and like a ditch and berm to make sure that nothing travels through. So
Okay.
I was like, I'm growing vegetables next to cattle. You can't just bring, you can't just assume that's going to work. You got to take some steps. So that's that.
Cool.
Most of what we're growing is for it's vegetables used in Indian cooking and Caribbean cooking. So things like bitter
Oh,
melon, bottle gourd, a lot of different kinds of eggplant. So most of that is cooked as well.
yeah.
Uh, I had a buddy with the ranch who was wanting to get into growing vegetables. They started with leafy greens, and there was nowhere on the ranch to put it that wasn't right next to cattle. And I was like, so fortunately, they never grew enough to sell it. They're just kind of trying it out. But I was like, oh boy,
Mhm.
this could get interesting.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the farm.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very
we're
cool.
hot peppers. We're having I think the lowest to the ground thing we've got is hot peppers.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
Cool. Well,
surprised.
that's
Bottle gourds, they'll cut them up and cook them in a lot of like Southern and Southeast Asian cuisine. So the nice thing about them is like they're very, they're very sturdy. You pick them and you don't have to put them in a cooler right away. They can you can kind of bounce them around a little bit as you're carrying them. If it was something like berries, they would have liquefied by the time you get them to the store.
yeah. Yeah.
The bottle gourds are nice like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's going good. We had to bring a crew out today to do some extra weed control, and they were like, um, they've been working farms for a long time, and they're like, "You got shade structures to take a break under?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, I got to work out here." They're like,
Nice. Nice.
"Yeah, it was a scorcher today." So we're glad it's after 5 now. Yeah, well, this has been helpful because I know there's been a lot of like 3/4 accurate news going around, and also a lot of conspiracy theories going around.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
what are some of the conspiracy theories that you've heard?
Well, they're all over the spectrum. I haven't heard of like a diarrhea space laser yet, so that's pretty good.
That's
Um,
good.
there's some conspiracy streamers were talking about like, oh, it's because people are using human feces as fertilizer because fertilizer prices are up. Um,
Mm,
yeah, the
well, I mean,
nutrient.
again, if it really is Taco Bell, and if it really is the supplier that everybody's saying,
Mhm.
they're can we curse on here?
Yeah,
their shit is tight, right? Like they
yeah,
know what they're doing, right? Like so
yeah.
I don't. I mean that yes, if it was I mean again, no offense to small farmers, but if it was a small operation that didn't understand what they were doing, yes. But
No,
this is
this
a
is what I've
big
been
company
saying.
that
Everybody thinks small
yeah.
farms poop doesn't stink, and I'm like, oh. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's I mean just that I mean again, I mean, capitalism, big agriculture, all that, but this company has a brand to protect and from what I've heard about their operations where this lettuce may have come from, I don't think it's them, right? Which again will lead to a whole nother set of conspiracies like why then if they've been implicated and what really caused it if it wasn't them, but probably we shouldn't go there.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing is again, like as a small farmer, and I feel like as a small farmer, I believe in small farms. I believe that we can do good things, but that comes when you pay attention and do your job professionally. I think a lot of folks think it means small farms can do no wrong. You can kind of do whatever. I've seen some crazy stuff go down on small farms in terms of labor
Yeah,
stuff, in terms of sanitation. Um, I think the thing that gets lost is number one, everybody poops. Like we all got to put it somewhere, no matter what the size of your farm. And doing everything right is hard. It is labor
mm,
intensive. It takes a lot of time. And if you're already spread thin, just trying to run a small farm, something's gonna fall off the deck. What is it? You know.
yeah,
Um, One of my employees right now used to be an army medic, and so he understands the concept of triage really well. We're just always doing triage, and
yeah,
it really kind of comes down to the farmer's personal priorities because I am who I am. Hygiene
right,
is high up on my list of personal priorities, but a different person might emphasize different things, and then you can get different
right.
results. So, yeah. Um,
Yeah, I had a project a few years ago working with folks to try to help small farmers do that prioritization. So to say, okay, where are your big food safety risks? And then also, where are your easy food safety wins? And let's look at the things that are easy for you to do that'll have the maximal effect on risk. And we built a little spreadsheet and there's a website somewhere. But this whole idea is like, well, you can't do everything all the time, so you have to prioritize, you have to focus. Well, so let's focus on like where the risks are and then also where the easy wins are to mitigate those risks, right? And I think those are the kind of tools that I think small farmers would need, right? To help you like figure out like, okay, yes, we can't be triaging everything all the time, but if we are going to spend time on stuff, what should we spend our time on?
hmm Yeah. Like, food safety kind of gets treated like it's a whole different demand on top of a big set of demands, but in most cases, it's like it dovetails really well into other things. For example, because we did our risk assessment, we've got cattle there, so we know that we need to make sure water's not flowing from the cattle to us. So we put in a grass and pollinator strip. We already need that for pollinators anyway. It
There you
fits in
go.
really well with production. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. Perfect.
yeah, it's just kind of like treating food safety like it's a normal part of your production, not like another darn thing. Like it's not giving people the shits is kind of not optional to me. So
Right. Right. Yeah. It sounds like you take food safety pretty seriously.
yeah, well, I used to be a third party food safety auditor for a while and did consulting. So like if I did something wrong, that would be really bad. Like you definitely
Yeah.
knew
Well,
better.
it's kind of like me. It's like, well, I'm going to give people advice, but I got a career. I got a reputation. I can't give people bad advice, right? I want to give them good advice.
Yeah, exactly. There was something interesting that I saw. And that was that the US did not used to have cyclospora outbreaks that started in the US, sometimes with imported food, but
Right.
not starting in the US until 2018. And then we've kind of had increasing numbers since then. So kind of conspiracy theory adjacent, but not really. As much as I love the term Maha Blast, that is really funny. This has actually been building up for a while. We cannot trace this back to Doge canceled one program. FDA has a whole document where they said, this is the growing caseload. We're starting to have a cyclospora season in this country now. Here are the things we need to do. Here's what we've been able to do. Please fund more of this. But for most of the time that we've been having growing cyclospora summer outbreaks, COVID has gotten all the new pathogen attention, and rightly so. It's kind of a big deal. Um, but while that was going on, and that's where all of our attention went, cyclospora was able to kind of simmer up in the background. So that's a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking at the CDC has a dashboard, Beam, BEAM, I forget something. enterics, amoebas, I don't know, something beam. You can look it up. But if you look at if you go and you can go in and you can filter by cause, by organism, et cetera. And if you go in and you look at Cyclospora, what you see is it's kind of flat, and then it spikes pretty big in 2018 and 2019, and then it kind of hits a big drop, pandemic time, and then it has a couple. Well, maybe this year will put us back up, right? But in previous year, and I think they only go because it's CDC and things are slow and they lag. The most recent data on that dashboard is 2023, but you can see from post-pandemic to 2023, nice steady uptick. So yeah, I mean and we don't know. I don't think we really know like why that's happening, and we also don't know necessarily if it's real, right? Because part of epidemiology and part of food safety is looking harder and having better tools to look. And so the question is, are we finding more because we're looking better, or we have better tools, or are we finding more because there's actually more? And I don't think we necessarily know that. But I mean, what we do know is okay, the things are going up, things are ticking up. Let's maybe not discontinue the CDC program that was tracking that, and let's not defund FDA. And let's not close the USDA facility in Beltsville where all the Cyclospora experts in USDA are located. Right? There's a whole bunch of bad things that are only going to make this problem worse. Not that they've caused it, but that we shouldn't be doing these things, right? Unless we just want to have the summer and winter disease, right?
Summer complaint is back, baby. It's not what we want to be doing. But yeah, it's a live stream, so we wind up repeating stuff a lot. And I'm seeing less questions. Like usually there's a ton of questions about like every couple of minutes, what do I do to not get it? Can I use vinegar? Can I rinse? Can I peel? We haven't had a lot of that today. I think it's starting to, we're all getting trained up. This is good.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, cooking is number one. There's a reason that like historically most cuisines have cooked vegetables, right? Like you stir fry stuff, in England you just boiled it to death. But there's a reason. So
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, another one. A lot of people have had questions about, is this because I think there was flooding in the area and then it was really hot, and so they're like, oh, it's hot and wet, that must be causing it. My counterfactual would be, if that's what caused it, the South would have a big Cyclospora outbreak after every hurricane, and we don't. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, part of it is really managing the safety of the water supply, right? Because I
Mhm.
fundamentally believe that it's getting on produce from water. And so, what are
Mhm.
you doing in terms of your water supplies? If are you on well water? How deep is the well? Do you use do you use pond irrigation? Like, what's the source of your irrigation water? What's the source of your pesticide makeup water? I want to say, and this may be misremembering it, but I think the Cyclospora raspberry situation, they never quite figured it out, but they were pretty sure it was using to get the dose needed on the raspberries. It really had to be directly applied, and so it was probably in pesticide makeup water that was applied to those
Mm,
raspberries. And again, you probably are
yep.
more, as an actual farmer, you're probably more knowledgeable about that than me. But I really fundamentally think it's about water, and it could potentially, and talking about Michigan and Ohio, 4 weeks ago in Ohio, or 4 weeks ago in Michigan, rather, they had a lot of storms and they did have some sewer overflows. And so, yeah,
Mm,
could that have caused it? Personally, I think yes, right? So it's really about managing your water treatment plants. It's about managing the water when it leaves the water treatment plant, or the quality of the water that you're applying. And yeah, but your point about we'd have outbreaks every time there were hurricanes, I think is a good one. And when we don't, right? But maybe we do sometime, and we certainly do see that summer peak. And again, still think scientifically we don't really know like what's going on with that summer peak. Like why does it peak May to August, right? We know that it
mhm.
does, but I don't think we necessarily know why. And we just don't. Again, it's just a plea for more research. We just don't know enough about this weird, relatively novel organism.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple good things in there. So one of them was, yeah, the pesticide water, like you mentioned, so to roll this one out to the audience. So if you're
Mm.
spraying something on your crops, you've got your active ingredients that you put into the spray tank, your fungicide or insecticide or whatever, and then you water it down with something. And something we kind of realized after a while was, we're doing all this, okay, we need to make sure the irrigation water is clean. And we're doing all this stuff to irrigation water. And then it turns out people are spraying dirty pond water directly on their crops from the pesticide tank. So when we say, is it in the water? That can mean a lot of things. Is it in the municipal water? Probably not. Lakes, maybe, I don't know. creeks and ponds. Uh, Ponds on the farm, I think, are because it's a small body of water, and one pooping incident can really get that thing nice and dosed up. It's
Yep.
harder to. I'm not saying you can't. If you have like a sewage outflow into a lake, or like a lot of vacation homes around a lake or something like that, that can get pretty contaminated.
Yep.
But it's the
Yep.
bigger the body of water, the harder it is to do that. The more it flows, the harder it is to do that. But on-farm ponds, especially, are really prone to that. So when we do our food safety audits, we're like, here's a questionnaire. Are you using water? Where's it coming from? Wells? That's great. We'll have some questions about that. Rainwater collection, we'll have some questions about that. On-farm pond, big red flags. We are going to have a lot of questions about that. So, yeah, on-farm ponds are just a little bit sus. All ponds, but especially on a farm.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned summer diarrhea season. We talked about that a little bit. So, a thing that used to be really big was people believed that watermelons cause cholera, like back before we figured out what germ theory was, because watermelons come ripe right around the time cholera peaks, just because it's hot, water levels are low, and so, and it's hot, pathogens, the bacterial pathogens tend to like it when it's warm. And so you just have dwindling water supplies, more contamination, people are going to get cholera. You have a big population. It starts to show up right around the time that watermelons are ripe. So
Yeah.
correlation and
It's
causation.
like the miasma theory of disease, right? Oh, bad smells is what causes people to get sick because when there's lots of bad smells, more people are getting sick. Well, that's because you don't have sewage treatment. It's not
Yeah,
the smells.
right. Yeah. And I think on occasion too, they'd harvest the watermelons and put them in a creek to cool down, in which case, if the creek is full of cholera, that actually will do it. But it wasn't the watermelon that did it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, just like I don't know, there is kind of a history of just diarrheal illnesses getting more serious in summer, and we kind of have some vision as to why that is. And then by the time our science got good enough to figure out why that is, we just built sewers instead.
Yeah. But I do think we still have, I have to go back and look at that CDC beam dashboard that I was talking about before. But I do believe for things like salmonella, we do have a summertime peak, right? And again, as a microbiologist who studies growth of bacteria, I can tell you the hotter it gets, the faster they grow, the more they grow, the more there are, and the more there are, the higher the probability of illness if you get a dose. So, but yeah, there definitely is some seasonal dependencies there.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we had a question: conspiracy theory that farmers use sludge from municipal sewer plants. That is a totally different thing from humanure. That's treated sludge that's been treated to break down the microbes. If you have an industrial facility in your city that's pumping out heavy metals or PFAS, that can be an issue, but that's not cyclospora, right? So, and this is the thing that people miss a lot when it comes to using sewage sludge on, or like municipal biosolids on farms. You
Mhm.
have three options when you're dealing with like large volumes of waste. You can put it in a landfill and fill up all your landfills with sewage sludge. You can dump it in the ocean and destroy the ocean, or you can put it on farms where you need phosphorus anyway. Putting biosolids and sewage sludge on farms is, I would say, the only truly sustainable solution here, because there's so many people on this planet. We are using so much of the planet's nutrient supply. If we don't recycle that stuff, we run out of nutrients. There's no way around that. The solution to that is to take it to municipal sewage plant and treat it properly so you're not putting microbes on it. Another thing you can do is, generally when we use municipal sewage sludge for crops, we're putting on corn, soybeans, cotton, uh, wheat. We're not putting it on lettuce. That would be crazy. So that when we do food safety audits, that's one of the questions is, are you using raw feces? No. Okay, good. Are you using biosolids? We still got to ask some questions, because the pathogen load is cut way down, but you can't get it quite to zero. And so we put it onto crops where it gets cooked or it doesn't get eaten at all, because there really
Well,
is no other sustainable thing to do with biosolids but put them on farms. Really important
Except
reason.
that
But again,
now you mentioned wheat, and so I was good with your whole list till you mentioned wheat, and we
mm,
know flour actually now has been linked to outbreaks, not from the baked product because, like you say, it's
mm,
going to be cooked, but just from exposure to raw flour, either in your kitchen or maybe people
mm,
making a raw cookie
inhaling
dough.
it.
Everybody loves raw cookie dough. We say no because of salmonella in the eggs, but oh, guess what? It could also be E. coli and salmonella in the flour now. So
Yeah. Yeah, the main source of salmonella and E. coli in flour, I think, is just rodents in storage, which is like really sobering to think about. But like, man, we domesticated cats for a reason. Oh,
Yeah, I did some work looking at a risk assessment for flour a number of years ago, and I learned a ton. Apparently, there is a stage before they put it into a silo
Mhm.
where they make what's called the ground pile, which is literally a pile on the ground, right? And
Mhm.
so now you've got potentially rodents getting in there. I think in one case they linked it back to a species of E. coli that was in the deer population, so deer
Ooh.
wandering by pooping near or on your ground piles of wheat, and the milling process gets rid of some of it, but not all of it. And so, lo and behold, again, it's not like every bit of flour is contaminated, but we've had outbreaks now. So, okay, that's going to be a checkbox on the epidemiologist check sheet to say, okay, have you interacted with raw flour at any point?
Yeah. Well, yeah, inhaling large amounts of flour is gonna mess you up in a lot of ways. So I can see, yeah, if there's a lot of
Anyway,
salmonella on it,
right?
it's not good. It is shocking how much, it's okay. So another thing that'll happen is rodents and raccoons love to live in combines after the off season because you can't get all the grain out of it, but they'll find it. And then they like to chew through the hydraulics
Sure
cables
will.
and wiring. And that's a problem. And so that's another source of contamination. You have to like clean out the combine before the season if you don't want to have a problem. And
Yep.
like you would be shocked how quickly that happens. I grew wheat one year in my yard just for kicks, let's just try that out. I got less than 5 gallons worth of grain. The amount of critters that found our porch just from the spilled grain that was winding up on the porch, and like not even large amounts. It is crazy. Like grain is just like it pulls these critters out of the ether.
Well, funny story talking about critters.
Yeah,
We had a bird feeder up, which we had over the winter because we want to give the little birdies something to eat in the winter. And the summer came, and and it's right on our porch, so it's very very close to where we eat in the summertime when it's not unseasonably hot or there's not wildfires in Canada. And what we were discovering was there was this bird shit all over our porch, and also other critters, because the birds are messy and they're not efficient. But you know what, nature is efficient, and there will be other little critters, chipmunks, maybe mice, maybe something a little bigger than a mouse. It's still a rodent. And it's like, yeah, I think my wife's solution was, well, I think it's summertime. The birds can probably take care of themselves. They'll be disappointed for a few days, and lo and behold, yes, there are still birds. They're just not pooping on our porch anymore, and no more other little critters running around and giving us the heebie-jeebies.
gosh, yeah, that's always a lot. That's fun. Yeah, it was just shocking how quick that shows up. It was like
Yeah, yeah.
minuscule amounts of grain, critters, boom. I mean, we took care of it pretty quickly. Like it's a small area. You realize pretty quickly there's an issue. There's lots of cats in the neighborhood. It did not persist for very long, but that was kind of crazy.
Cool.
Well, yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your day, but this has been super
Oh,
helpful.
well,
Yeah,
honestly, I've been looking forward to doing this all day. Number one, because I've never done a live stream before, and it seemed like a cool idea. And number two, like again, I don't know what kind of media you've been doing today, but a lot of what I've been doing today is, okay, show up. The host is going to ask you a bunch of questions. It's going to be really quick. They might ask you to do a couple of questions over, and then boom, you're out. And we don't have time for a more nuanced conversation. And so,
yeah.
yeah, this has been fantastic. So I've been, like I said, been looking forward to this all day. So I really appreciate you
Oh,
inviting me.
you're too kind. It's fun. Well, like for people to really learn stuff, you have to repeat things a few times and all that, and there's just a news bite doesn't really allow for that. So
Yeah, and part of the reason why I got into podcasting in the first place is I really do enjoy long form conversation, right? And if people are dipping in and out, they're not necessarily getting that. But this is nice that we can have this long form conversation, get into the nuances, talk about rodents chewing through hydraulic lines, and birds pooping on my porch, because that honestly, like I think is at least as interesting as I mean, yes, of course we want to answer people's questions and all that stuff, but again, just having a conversation with somebody about something that we both are interested in, like that's to me that's just fun, right?
yeah, it's way more interesting than just like, and we brought you in for a 3 minute talking head. It's like, well, hey, this has been good, and then we're hitting into Friday evening now, so we'll let you go. And this has been
I've
fun.
already
Thanks for
started.
that. And if you ever have questions, um, you said you got a podcast. Tell us where to find you.
Yeah, so I got two podcasts. I got a podcast called Food Safety Talk, which you can find
Mhm.
on foodsafetytalk.com. And then that's a long, rambling podcast that comes out sporadically. My co-host and I just checked today. We've been doing it since August of 2011, so long time. And then another podcast that we do, which is a short form podcast that comes out 3 times a week, 10 to 15 minutes, and that's called Risky or Not.
Mhm.
And you can find that at riskyornot.co. And the premise of that show is we get feedback from listeners. People just ask us questions about, hey, is this risky? And then we very quickly, my co-host and I, have to decide. We're not allowed. What's the tagline? We don't waffle, dither, or equivocate, and we do our best to give straight up answers to people's questions. So we're allowed obviously a little bit of dithering and equivocating, but at the end of 10 or 15 minutes, we have to both decide whether this particular thing is risky or not. And we don't have to agree. We usually do. We don't have to agree. And it's a lot of fun because it has that spontaneity of like, okay, we got a problem to solve. We got 15 minutes. Let's go. Let's solve the problem. And we deal with we do mostly, we're both food safety guys, so we both mostly deal with food safety stuff. Occasionally we get into toxicology stuff, and occasionally we get into stuff that we are not necessarily qualified to talk about, but we have fun and hopefully educated. Lots of links to scientific literature and stuff like that, so people find it
Oh,
fun.
good. Yeah. That sounds fun. I think I got to look at that. You guys have like a very rich text of statistics on your site, like correlation. This is really good. That's really funny.
Well, I stopped doing the statistics because I got too busy, but yeah. But there are lots and lots of episodes. We're closing in on episode 1000, so you can listen to the whole back
Wow.
catalog. Or like I said, I think people like it because it's just, you can just dip in for 10 or 15 minutes and then go do something else.
How long have you been doing that? 1,000 episodes. It's so many.
So well, but it comes out 3 times a week, okay?
Mhm.
And we started doing that just before the pandemic. So we
Mhm.
lapped our other podcast. The other podcast is only like 300 episodes or something like that since 2011. But this one is, again, they're just short, and we just bang them out. I think I haven't told my co-host this yet, but I think we might have to. We're both administrators. He's a department head. I'm a department chair. We both do it because we love it, but I think we might need to not post 3 times a week. But anyway, that's for
Fair.
a
Yeah.
future day.
You have an editor? That always helps. But
Oh God, no, no. I mean, we do it. We have no money. We make no money. We have no ads. We have no.
oh
We
no.
Ben does the post production on Food Safety Talk. I do the post production on Risky or Not. It takes, so when we record, it's about an hour and a half, and then there's probably an hour and a half of post production that I do, where I chop
Mhm.
up the long thing into the episodes, and then post it and all that. So, and again, it's not. I mean, if you are listening to our podcast because you like like Radio Lab style, well edited podcast, not the podcast for you, right? It's hopefully it sounds good if I remember to use my microphone and turn it the right way. Yeah, and it's I mean it's not poorly produced, but again, hopefully you come for the topic, and you don't get too repulsed by our rather lackadaisical editing. Oh, with the tool that we use for editing, or the tool that I use for editing, is something called Descript.
Oh
And
yeah.
my co-host, God bless him, ums and ahs a lot. But Descript will take
Mhm.
out those ums and ahs. I don't edit too much more than that automatically because it sounds kind of choppy. But
Yeah.
and then yeah, and if it's something's an obvious glitch, I'll edit it out. But again, it's just like two people talking, so it's you're gonna have the
Yeah.
normal conversation, weirdness.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like you'll get social media made by people who are subject matter experts, and so the thing we're good at is the thing we're good at, and it's not media production, and it's a little bit more raw and down to earth. And I'm kind of hitting the ceiling, I think, of what you can do with that social media wise before professionalizing a little bit more. So I'm like
Mhm.
reckoning with like all of that. So we're having an
Yeah,
identity crisis, or like are we a farmer
yeah.
that does
Well,
social
we
media, or are we a social media that does farming? You know.
Yeah, we're both tenured professors, so we don't
Mhm.
have to do anything, and we just do this because we like it. And but obviously, somebody like you who's trying to earn a living, it's so funny. I did a sorry, I'll just drag this out a little bit longer. I did an interview about, was it about Cyclospora? Anyway, about something related to my expertise. And the guy that interviewed me is a Instagram influencer, but he used to be a vascular surgeon. I'm like, dude, you can make more money doing this than being vascular surgeon. He's like, well, I'm giving it a try. I couldn't do both. So it's like, God bless you.
All
A
right. Well, and
lot of
if it
medical
doesn't work
school.
out, he's got enough savings
I
from
guess he
vascular
can go
surgery that he can
go
at least give it a
go
shot.
back to be a vascular surgeon. Yeah, I don't know.
That's wild. All right. Well, hey, and your podcast co-host is at NC State.
Yes.
I'll have to look him
Yeah,
up.
his name is Ben Chapman. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Okay.
Are you in North Carolina?
I'm in Fayetteville, so that's about an hour south of NC State.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good.
So it's yeah, good. We're in just a giant pile of sand down here. So the good news is runoff doesn't get far, which we need because there's a lot of hogs here. And on that note, happy Friday, everybody. You heard it here first, second, and maybe third. Thanks for coming on here, Dr. Schaffner, and you guys have a good one. Tell the co-host hi for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And I'm happy to come back anytime there's a food safety thing you want to talk about. I love doing this, and you're delightful, and this was so much fun. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, there'll always be something else. So, stay tuned. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for coming in, everybody.
Bye.